All right, it's a bettor's delight. It's Talladega. It's long shot weekend in NASCAR, which really hasn't turned into a long shot weekend. I'm your man, your host, Steve Letarte, back from the Masters. Looks relatively sober. How you doing, Trav?
Well, we're great.
I thought you were going to pour that into a green cup for us today.
No, but I've got your green cups. I've already delivered Tim's.
Oh, we made fun of it. Listen, he texted us at like 8:15 a.m. day one. Got you guys cups.
I mean, it wasn't 8:15, but it wasn't far.
But it wasn't 9:15. Go ahead and say it. It might not have been 8:15, but it wasn't 9.
We had a number that we wanted to go after, and I don't know the exact number, but I know we got past the number we wanted. So we're sitting with 100 cups in this apartment.
I love it. We got the professor in the lab, who I can't believe he shows his face after last week's performance of the Predictor.
Yeah, but hold on. We'll get into that.
No,
let's
right now is the best
right
time.
now.
If we're going to get into it, don't delay.
What do you want? Wait
let's
45 minutes?
I mean, Tim's couldn't pay the internet bill. I'm not sure he's even on today. You on, Tim's?
I'm here. Struggling, but I'm here.
Woo, man.
All right, well, let's go through it. Larson, pit crew couldn't get a wheel on, right? Byron was finished right about where we had him. Denny Hamlin gets wrecked from second. Blaney gets taken out by Preece. Then Reddick right about where we had him. Truex was predicted 6th. I don't know what happened to him. He was running well at some point. Then Bell got in an accident. Then Chastain got Chastained himself. And then Bubba was 2 positions off, and Logano was 1 position off. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't good.
I'm going to let you know,
Come on.
guys, you want to know why the professor's the stat man and not the TV analyst? Because I don't think you're ever going to hear me on a race one time say, I don't know what happened to Truex. He was running well at some point. Like, I don't know if that's the analysis you're looking for I might roll that on one of the races this year. Running 27th is Truex. Too bad, too, because he was running well at some point. Like
he was. Okay, you tell me
we
what
didn't even talk about God's greatest, most famous NASCAR driver ever. Chase Elliott wins, and you disrespected him.
I had him 12th.
Woo! Okay, let's talk about the win, though, and Danny said it on his podcast. First of all, look, I'm not a fan of any driver, period. I'm a fan of all of them, right? I don't have a favorite. But Chase has been very vocal about having to learn to drive the car differently, and the celebration, the interview. Tim's, you're a sports fan. Let's talk sports fans. I was happy with he seemed more genuinely so thankful to be in that moment. As a guy who has no favorites, I had some empathy. I'm like, man, he's my fan favorite right now. I'm happy he won this race.
Yeah, it rivaled, he's a superstar. So, having him after a long winless streak win, it wasn't the magnitude of a Dale Jr. or a Tiger Woods, but it was up there. I mean, 2 years is a long time. So it was good to see that face of the sport win for sure.
Polish victory lap with the Hooters scheme on.
Oh,
just
yeah.
a lot of throwbacks to it. It was a popular win, and like I said, I'm not a fan of any driver. I have to cover them all. But he earned some fan points if that's a thing, right? Like I'm like, you know what? It felt so genuine, his appreciation for this moment.
It reminded me of Steve Young when he was talking about getting the monkey off his back with all the Joe Montana stuff. That's what it felt like with Chase.
No, it was great. It was great. The other big weekend was the Masters, the number 1, the lowest odds ever for a favorite, Scotty Scheffler. I shouldn't say ever. I think since like the 90s or something.
No, since like Tiger.
Okay, so he comes in at plus 450 or 350, depending on when you found it, and wins in wins in I'm a badass fashion, right? It was close. On TV, I'll tell you this, Trav. On TV, off the 9th tee, it was a golf tournament. And when they walked off the 9th green, it wasn't a golf tournament anymore. It was over, ! Signed, sealed, and delivered.
But I don't know if he was like a badass, but it was more of everybody else decided.
He was Scotty Scheffler badass.
But everybody else just decided to go get in the water, or for like Max Homa, like he just hit it on concrete in the part of the green and it went into the bush. Like all of a sudden, everybody had these double bogeys. Like Colin Morikawa had 2 double bogeys, I think, in like a 3-hole stretch. Like I don't know if it was like this dominating performance. Like I'm not going to take anything away from Scotty. He went out there and won it. And good job.
Well, so hold on. Let's talk about this though, because this is the conversation. I personally don't like. Now, I like U.S. Open being even par. We got to have one of them, okay? But I don't like the Masters being single digits, man. I want to see 16 under. I don't think television can show how hard it is that they're trying to do in the wind and the firm green and the shape of the greens. You know what I'm saying, Timms? As a fan, to what Trav just said, I think he was a badass because I think Bogey was a good scorer and he kind of walked away from him. But I do agree with what Trav is saying. If it was a little softer greens and he made like 5 birdies in a row, we'd be talking about how much of a badass he was. But it wasn't a 5 birdies in the row tournament. That wasn't an option.
No, there's a lot of up and downs, and you need birdie opportunities to have comebacks. You know, like once Scotty was out there 4 or 5 strokes, I mean, he's done. He's not giving that up. He doesn't bogey. So
that's exactly right. I think is a good point. Is once he got out there, like once he didn't hit in the water on 12. It was like, well, look, nobody can reach 15 successfully, consistently. Nobody's making eagles on. There's no firepower to catch him. Mm-hmm. There's no Augusta Amen corner roar from the 13th green that Scotty feels on the 12 tee going, oh, what just happened up in front of me? Like, that's what I lacked from this Masters tournament was the ability to create a crowd roar. Not from the name, but from the play, and I don't think it was available. I think the course was too difficult.
The course is difficult on its own, and the winds at times were 30, 40 miles an hour. It was brutal, and I wish it would have been a little softer on the greens, but I get it every time. Every so often, Augusta wants to remind people that this course is tough.
For sure. So let's just talk about, I went 0 for on all my winning bets. I didn't have Scheffler. The Super Max bet, Tiger versus Phil. We had Phil all day. I got a little nervous Friday afternoon that Phil wasn't going to make the cut. I won't lie. The wind was blowing. I'm like, come on, Philly. Just get this thing in the house. You can beat him on the weekend. Once he got it in the house and Tiger come out on Saturday, 3 holes in, I'm like, Tiger's tank is empty. This bet is cashing. Then the ultimate of laydowns. Let me tell you guys, I was watching. Justin Thomas is like even par or 1 over with 5 to play. I throw the remote, shut the TV off, and I'm like, son of a gun, I had him missing the cut. Double, bogey, double. My man brought me the money. And then you guys are like, I can't believe you're rooting against him. I'm like, rooting against him? If I could have ran out there and blew his ball off the green, I would have.
So you won't bet the under, but you'll bet someone won't make the cut?
Fact.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, because I'll cheer for a double bogey. I don't want to cheer for a missed shot. They don't have the same sort of excitement.
Okay.
Yeah. Rooting for one in the woods.
What else did I have? How'd you do, Tim's, overall? You get anything worth talking about?
I mean, the long shot I had was Oberg, and he was the right long shot. He finished second, but didn't cash anything because
you didn't jump out on the live when he was tied early.
No, I had him 30-1. And I said I'm sticking with this ticket. That's it.
That's not bad. Because you probably, what was the live best you got? Like a 3-1 or 2.5 to 1?
Yeah, exactly. He was up there pretty heavy, so all that value was gone.
That would have been a crushing cash out too if he'd have done it.
I know. Well, I used a free bet, so I couldn't even cash out. I used a free bet on it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So
Tim's internet, he must be at Dirty Mo somewhere because his internet stinks.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's get to – how about online? We have any love online? I know Trav doesn't know. He forgets we exist. Tim, did you see anything? Oh, no. Trav is back. Okay.
James Jeffers had Chase Briscoe top 10. Catch that. I saw a couple of people had Briscoe. And then Dylan Poteet had Brad Keselowski in a group bet. He cashed that. And then he also had Brad top Ford.
Did anybody have Austin Dillon top 10?
Dead to me.
What about both RCR cars in the top 10?
It's unbelievable. That's attrition right there.
How would we do it? Because the Predictor didn't have it. I mean, how could we bet it? The Predictor didn't even have him in the race. Listen, of all weeks, the upper right corner of the Zoom should be quiet. This is the week, yet you're chirpy up there like you did something. If Tim's bet on your Predictor, he would have to come over and share the damn computer screen with me.
Just so you know, Truex had a loose wheel while running 6th. Predicted to finish 6th. So how about that, buddy? I know I'm 10 minutes late, but you know.
Let's go to Talladega. First of all, there's a young man, friend of mine's son, turned 21 this week. He's firing. First bet in the casino was on Denny Hamlin. And then he told his dad that I got some more bets coming, but I got to listen to the pod. So Pod's live. We're going to Talladega. It's a long shot's dream, which is funny. I say that, but it isn't really. Professor, let's talk recent Talladega. How, in my mind, you and I had this argument. I feel like Talladega is the long shot dream, right? And I think back to I'm going to go way back, right? The Greg Sacks, the Phil Parsons, the Brad Keselowski in the 09 car, the front row 1-2 finish back a few years ago. Like, I have all in my mind, I have all these, quote, surprise, is that being rude? I'm not trying to be rude. Surprise or long shot wins on a gambling show. We'll call it long shots. But here recently, we have not had a lot of long shots, Professor, right?
Yeah, your recent winners like Blaney last year, Kyle Busch this race last year, then Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Bubba in the rain, Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Blaney, Chase Elliott, and then you get back to Almirola's probably your last, if you will, long shot winner.
So the question is, does that mean the trend is saying it's not going to happen? Or which way do we bet the roulette ball? Timms has been red. I know the probability doesn't change. I get the math. I get it, but that's boring. What's your heart tell you?
My heart tells me we're due for a long shot. That's what it tells me.
That's what I'm saying.
That's too long. That's too long not to have one.
I was going to skip this part of the pod, but we're going to go through it. Let's go to the predictor. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, top 4. I can't argue. I'm a little surprised Bubba's not in there. I think because when he wrecked leading, it hurts his finishing number and it softens his predictor.
Yeah, but hold on. He has one top 10 at Talladega.
Yeah, because he can't finish. I agree.
Well, that's part of betting, right?
So are pit crews, but you just gave me a whole excuse how all the pit crews screwed up your predictor last week.
They did.
You can't
They
have it
really
both
did.
ways.
They screwed it up. All those pit crews did.
They screwed it up. You sound like all these people who want to talk politics. They. I said, in school, you had to have a noun to have a pronoun. These people just jump into a conversation with a pronoun. Don't even qualify it. Don't even start with a somebody to become a they. They just like this mythical, magical voice in the air is talking to them. All right, William Byron, Elliott, Blaney, Hamlin. I got no argument there. Those 4 are monsters. Timms, any disagreement? I mean,
Zero.
And they're so close together. Like that order is not an order. It's just that's the top 4.
All right, Group 2, Wallace, Larson, Logano. Bell surprises me. Briscoe, Truex surprises me. Busher, the Kez.
Which one you want to talk about?
Keselowski.
Yeah, I feel like he should be higher.
Because Vegas has him 3rd.
Great call.
Okay. His
third,
last-
they really have him equal. He's 10-1 with Byron, Blaney, Kez. I mean, Kez is technically one of the 3 favorites.
His last 3 drafting track finishes: 32nd, 33rd, 33rd.
Could you describe what a drafting track is for the listeners?
I'll do it
Please.
for the listeners and anybody else that wants to listen to me.
A lot of different people in the industry listen to this, so please go ahead. What's a drafting track?
So we call it a drafting track we included Landon as a drafting track with Daytona and Talladega because they use the same rules package. And also it's a drafting track anytime you're going faster in the race with a group of people than you are by yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, give that man another Emmy. That makes a lot of sense. So you're including Atlanta in this, which I have to agree with. I know everybody doesn't, but I'm going to call it a drafting track.
Well, and especially when we look at numbers, because like you look at Corey LaJoie, we love him as a long shot on the drafting track. He's finished top 5 twice at Atlanta. Like on a regular mile and a half, we're not going to even consider him to finish top 5.
So before we get into name, Timms, let's just talk about this because this is an argument I had last year a bunch with Chopper. I know we're going to talk predictor and we can talk all the numbers we want, but just as a gambler going in, let's get a little more global view to the NASCAR gambler out there. How do you approach this week? Because I feel like you're pretty analytical most weeks. You listen to the predictor a lot. You watch practice. You don't bet a lot with your heart. You kind of have a theory behind your bets. And I have a hard time giving you a good numbers theory at Talladega. So is this a week that you just play a little and take some long shots? Do you still try to capitalize? What's your approach?
Yeah, it's play a little, play some long shots. I think this is kind of the week I stop going analytical and just kind of have fun. Now, some guys that run well are constantly up there. Yeah, that's probably who I'm going to target as a long shot. But very, very low volume, a couple bets. I might throw in a couple top tens if they're really good price or something like that. But it's just hard to lean one way or another because anything can happen at any given moment and you're screwed. So, I mean, keep it low and keep it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And the top tens are really predicted. The front half of the top tens look kind of normal. The back half, though, your longest shots are 9-1s. We normally see some way longer odds than that for top tens. So I think the books also they're kind of trying to hedge their action a little bit here. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we could keep going through the predictor, but I'm more interested in the bets, Trav. Don't you think? Let's hear what Tim's likes as a bettor. What are you on?
Well,
Let's
do
talk
like
winners first. Let's talk winners.
Winners, I do like Chase Elliott. I like the story of a back-to-back. I would root for that. I like that as a favorite. That's probably the one favorite I would place. For a long shot, I got a pool of guys I'll probably narrow it down to. It's your typical Stenhouse, McDowell, LaJoie. But there's a couple guys like Erik Jones and Todd Gilliland. I would throw some money on those. This is a race where I think if you're an Erik Jones or a Ricky Stenhouse, it's probably your second to last best chance to make the playoffs, and Daytona being the last one. So they're probably going for broke here, and if they're up there, I would love to have some money on them.
I think anybody outside the top 21 or 2 in points is thinking it's going to take a win. A couple of those are road course guys, but the majority are definitely looking at super speedways, the drafting tracks, so I agree with your strategy there. Todd Gilliland, something about this kid. He's led the most laps, right, of anybody at drafting this year. Professor, does that sound right?
It sounds about right. Like, he led 16 laps at Daytona, 58 at Atlanta. So, like, he's been on it this year. It's crew chiefs.
I like him. 45-1. I could get my mind around that. Plus 180 top 10. I can get my mind around that because I think that's a reasonable value for that guy. I think he has just as good a chance of, not as anybody, but take out 5 or 6 of them. So let's just be honest. Blaney, numbers are undisputed. I mean, 3 top 2s. So let's just say, okay. Hamlin, numbers are undisputed. The Kez, I know he doesn't run well. He's more of a go for broke or not guy in my mind, right? Where Blaney and Hamlin are just seem to always be in the picture. So there are 4 or 5 people that I think their numbers have to be considered. The rest, throw them in a bucket. Some are better than others, but, man, so many things go into it. So for that reason, I like 45-1 on Gilliland. What else you like there, Tim's, for winners? That's kind of your swing. What you said, LaJoie. So we talk about a LaJoie a lot at Atlanta. How about LaJoie's Talladega numbers? Let's talk specific there, Professor. Is it in Atlanta that's tipping the scales, or is it drafting total?
It's Daytona and Atlanta. It's not Talladega.
So that was what my gut was thinking me. My gut was thinking me?
That's
some TV shit right there, guys.
Hold on. He did finish 4th here last fall, but before that, it's not very good.
Yep.
But like when you look at Daytona and Atlanta, he's like really good.
So Gilliland was my second favorite long shot. I have one more, and it's way out there.
Who?
Justin Haley.
I don't mind it.
So, and I'm not even going to take my opinion on this. When we covered Justin Haley in the Xfinity Series, Dale Jr. talks about how he likes how the kid reacts. He likes the moves he makes. And this comes from Dale Jr. He obviously sees the race very different than us. So he talks, though, we talk about, the intangibles of a quarterback, right? Who can lead him down the field, who can rally the guys. Those are not measured stats. Well, when Dale Jr. was explaining his vision of Justin Haley's move in the draft, he goes, those aren't stats. Like, those aren't, hey, I got to turn left, and get in line. He goes, that's just your butt and your brain saying tug the wheel left. Like, he's very reactionary. 80-1 is a lot, but 9-1 top 5, 275 top 10. Like, I like Justin Haley as now it's a monster long shot, but I like Justin Haley to have a very good day. Professor, tell me I'm crazy with some stats.
No, he was 6th there last fall. Like I think, and then he's been top 15 3 of the last 4. So, like, he's been there.
He finishes races too. I liked him. I had him for the top 10. I thought that was a pretty safe bet. because he doesn't really he's very much there at the end. So if this race is crazy, he's got a shot for sure.
So that's what I think. I think this is a guy that's not going to engage for the first couple of stages because stage points aren't going to move this team into the playoffs. So I think this is a team that would be a little conservative early, which if there's a big wreck, the attrition may flip to his side. So if you put him out there in a 35-car field, like say we have a very clean race with 10 to go, there's 35. If all the big guys are up there, it's still a tall task. But if you have a wreck that takes out a Blaney, Kez, Hamlin, for instance, and 5 others, now he's moving right up the favorite list. So I think that's an option there. Now the counter is, let's flip to the other side. I like a Logano perhaps as a live bet cash out because he's going to be aggressive early, right? So you could bet him at 11-1, and if he wins stage 1 or 2 and leads early, and you can get 2 times your money, I'd get out of Dodge. I'd just take the winner. This is a race that I could live bet. Anytime I get plus money, I'm live betting out. I'm taking my plus money off the table. Just take a win. Take a win and get out of Dodge.
100% agree with that. Yeah, I like that Logano bet. That's right. I'm writing that down.
Because he's aggressive.
Yeah.
Right, Professor? Or am I making that up? He's aggressive. He's going to be up there.
Yeah, but do you think there's going to be a lot of payouts like that? Like get out early here?
I'm not a live bet expert. Tim's is going to tell us next week.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'll let you know next week. I'm actually very curious about that. I'll be at a bar in Nashville waiting for that cash out to come in there.
Where are you going?
I got a bachelor party, so we're just hanging out on Broadway all weekend.
So we'll call this a air quote hypothetical, but the rooftop at Kid Rock is fire.
All right.
Frat kids told us that. Now listen, you got to go to the 3rd level, and you got to drink by the door because they open up the rooftop in waves. So you got to be like limber. You can't have a tab open, man. You got to be tiptoeing. You got to have quick feet to get upstairs. Or the other move the frat kids taught me is you go to the elevator. You have a guy go to the 3rd and call it, and the elevator will take you up. That's the only way you can get up to the roof.
Okay.
We know all the scams.
Nice. I like that.
I'll also be in Nashville this weekend.
Woo! You want my kid's number?
So Tim's told me he's going to be there for a bachelor party. I was like, you know what? I haven't been back in a while. I called up my friends. I'm like, yo, you got a room available? They're like, yep. So I'm coming too.
Tim's, I'm going to have to give you young Latarte's number. Him
Yeah.
and the frats might come out. Him and the Kappa Sig, the Nashville Kappa Sigs are going to be, they'll come out.
Hell yeah. I love that.
The other thing I'll warn you, it's $9 a beer on Broadway. Just so you know,
yeah.
$9 a beer.
$12 for a nice Tito's and soda.
Telling you, if only the Predictor last week would have paid for some beers.
I know. We're banking on it.
Man, I think we have a pretty good little approach here. Who else leads a lot? Let's talk about the live bet angle for a minute. Who has a good average running position or leads a lot? You follow what I'm asking, Professor? I don't mean a favorite to win. Who do we think is going to be the Pied Piper? Who's going to be up there leading that maybe we're not thinking? Is it like a Dillon or a Stenhouse at 28-1? Or a McDowell at 40-1, maybe a live bet theory.
So your big lap leaders recently at Talladega have been Blaney. Now Erik Jones would be a good one. He's led the second most laps in this car at Talladega.
All right, so Blaney, you're not going to get a buyout at 10-1. I think I could be wrong. You're going to ride that one to the end. You're going to be emotionally attached like he's going to win it. But a Jones at 30-1, I believe, and I don't know if this is true. I really don't. I believe if you have a 30-1 tab and Jones leads 10, 15 laps, I think the algorithm in the live bet is going to say, we'll give you, even money or 2-1 to get you out of this bet because now we see this as a liability, and that is a ching. What's better than cash in a winner? Cash in 5 winners. Live bet, live bet, live bet, live bet.
Yes, the other ones are Bubba. I don't think you're going to get much out of him. Byron, Logano, Larson, Chastain.
So I like Logano. The other ones are all too short. I like Jones and Logano for the live bet theory. NASCAR fans, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is here. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. Just go to FanDuel.com/Dough to sign up. DOUGH. Then you could bet on everything from individual race winners to prop bets to which driver is going to take home the championship. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Start your engines with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Dough to get started. FanDuel, authorized gaming operator of NASCAR, 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online, real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at fanduel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. While we're here, let's talk qualifying. Ford has won. Let's put it this way. Let's make it this as simple as possible. In the last 7 drafting track races, the front row consists of 2, so that's 14 positions. Ford has qualified in 13 of those 14 positions. One random pole was the only non-Ford car in the last. You like that, didn't you, Professor? Boom, got in the notes this week.
You've had extra time this week, huh?
I did, man. I've been so let's talk about qualifying. And what I like is you got some longer shots here, right? I mean, you got a lot of 10-to-1s. I would have a crap ton of Fords.
You could sprinkle enough Fords because even the lowest, Logano at plus 550. So if you put him plus 2 or 3 others,
I could spend all kinds of Timms' money. I could come up with all
Yeah.
kinds of ideas.
What do you think about SHR? I have a feeling SHR is the team to target here.
Man, Noah at 22-1 seems like you got to have a little nibble on that thing.
Yeah, Noah and Briscoe were the 2. Although Priest, I don't know, he can qualify.
Oh, for sure. Is that 60-1
I
really
see
accurate
that.
for Priest? That can't be right. If it is, you got to get it right now. Why we're recording?
Yeah,
Or what about Barry at 80-1?
For sure, must.
yeah. Ooh, I'm salivating over here.
Like, don't write that one down. I'd get your phone out.
It's
that
all
might be
like-
a live bet on the pod. We might have our first during podcast live action.
What about Todd Gilliland?
Yeah, I mean, McDowell qualified at what, front row or poles, or Joey Logano got thrown out
He
with
was
the
on the pole at
glove.
Atlanta.
what drivers did you want me to
22-1.
confirm on?
Barry and Priest, they were the longest shot Fords.
Barry is
Well, you got Harrison at
Bear,
100-1.
Priest is plus 3,000, and Barry's plus 6,000.
You better be on your phone right now. I mean, that's a $5 bet for sure.
Fastest qualifier. Here we go.
And Keselowski's gloves, or Logano's gloves, going to be gone, right?
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not too
Yeah,
scared.
Barry's 60-1 now. Priest is 30-1.
Still, that's still great odds. I
Yeah.
think, for sure. Let's talk SVG. What's SVG driving?
Colleague.
I have no idea what to make of that. He's going to learn a lot. That's what I'll tell you. What do you want to do? You want to talk top 10s, Tim's? You want to go to matchups? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, let's top 10s. I feel like we've touched on a little bit.
There are a
there's
lot of short odds, right?
a lot
I
of
mean,
short odds. Yeah. The only one, like Gilliland, LaJoy, Haley were 3 I really liked. But Briscoe's plus 140, and he's just been on a tear recently. And even though it's Talladega, I might ride the hot hand there.
I like it. I like what you're saying here.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time taking any minus bet this week. Any
Yeah.
minus bet. And I say that in top 10s, and I say that going into the matchups. Like, minus? You think somebody is that much better at Talladega that I'm going to pay juice? Man, I'm having a hard time with this one.
Yeah, the only one I liked pre-qualifying was Byron over Keselowski, but it's minus 110, and I don't think that's even enough for me to get it there. I think Keselowski, because he's high on the books and not high on the predictor, that's what kind of drew me in there. But again, I don't really love it. Even the Byron Larson matchup, Byron's heavily favored for the first time in a while.
Larson's Superspeedways don't jump out at me, but at plus 130, I still think it's a coin. I know Byron's numbers are better, and Professor's going to tell us it's not a coin flip, but because he has Larson down at 6th, they're so close on the predictor, I would take plus 130 at a Superspeedway anytime on anyone. I have the same opinion on Suarez McDowell. You can get Suarez positive. Chastain and Bubba, I would take Chastain positive. I would take Bell Busch. I would take Bell positive. Briscoe Stenhouse, I would take Briscoe positive. I mean, I would just take all the positives, and I really, minus money would have to be like a Blaney versus Dillon or something. Like, it'd have to be such a huge discrepancy in numbers, and you're not going to get those matchups. So I would be plus money everywhere I could get it. and sit back and enjoy the race.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if anything moves significantly after qualifying, but like you said, I doubt it. So pick a few and sit back and watch.
We have no practice this week. It's just qualifying.
Just one lap of qualifying.
Yeah. So we have nothing really to go on here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some randoms. Let's talk about winning teams. Live Fast, nope. Beard, nope. Wood Brothers is still only one car, so let's not talk about that. Colleague, I think SVG hurts your chances. Nothing against SVG, but it's super speedway racing. He doesn't have a lot of experience. So moving up, what I got? JTG is one car. Legacy, Spires 3 cars. Front row. I mean, anything jump out at there, Professor? I don't hate Penske at plus 450 because, I think Cindric has some value being the third car in there, and Blaney and Logano are pretty good. So that's better than if you bet all 3 of them.
Nothing sticks out where it's like, you got to get this guy.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
How about matchups? We talk about plus money. You can get plus money in matchups. I don't think you could predict them. So as a gambler, Tim, let's talk once again back to the gambling conversation. Forget the prediction, but I'll just throw this out here. Group C, Chastain, Bell, Gibbs, Buescher. You can get Buescher at 3-1, and he has to beat 3 other guys. The other 3 could be in a wreck. The reason I say 3-1 is you can't get anybody. The top 30, top 10s aren't 3-1.
Yeah, I tried groups last week and I failed miserably. I just stay away from groups,
I like the honesty.
especially Talladega. I'm staying away from groups this week, 100%.
I think
but
groups
I agree.
have been our worst area the last year and this year. It's just so unpredictable.
I agree.
They are. One guy gave me really good advice on Twitter, which was like, try to eliminate 2 and just make it a matchup head-to-head. But the guy I eliminated beat the guy I bet on. So It's just tough.
Well, let's talk about some fun ones then. Race to go to OT, plus 180.
Ooh.
This has got to be the most OT race in the sport.
Yeah.
It is.
That's kind of like betting the over. If you're a race fan and you like overtime.
So, Russ, how many in the last, let's call it 5 to 10 or something, how many have gone to OT?
It's one of the last 4.
25% of the time. That's
18 total, but one of the last 4. Then you go back to we have a rain-shortened race. Then we did have a stretch of 3 in a row that were overtime. So you had 4 of the last 7.
I like it. I like the plus 180. 4 of the last 7 says a plus 180. How about lead lap finishes? 27.5. This purely comes down. There's not going to be a lot of lap down cars. So it just comes down to wrecks. There are 38 cars in the field. So you need to lose 11. Man, I think under at plus money. I'm taking under at plus money. We have not had a bloodbath, disaster, wreck fest in a while. And if you one wreck could almost pay that bet.
Yeah, we've had 8, 9, 13 DNFs the last couple races there. So
13 would get you there, Timms.
Mm-hmm.
I like the under.
I kind of disagree. I like I said, as a long shots do, we might be due for a wreck fest.
Yeah, so the under cars in lead lap would be the wreck fest.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing.
I've got
you know
a
what I'm
question.
saying? Like, driver, if you have under 27.5, well, let's just assume nobody's a lap down for a minute, right? Because they're all going to run in a pack. I know some guys will, but just follow me. You're basically looking for, we have 38 cars. You're looking for 11 DNFs.
I'm looking at
I think you're going to get them.
Yeah, I'm looking at it backwards.
Yeah, but you could easily have guys off the lead lap, Stevie.
I know. No, I know. But what happens there, sometimes you get so many waiver rounds if you get a bunch of yellows. But the yellows normally are other guys falling out. I like the under bet there. I think that's actually the bet of the week. I think the bet of the week is under 27.5. Sit back and have a great time and enjoy the race.
It would have paid 75% of the time in this car.
Ooh. What else we got to talk about? How about Xfinity?
Yeah.
There's one more Cup one I got.
Oh,
if you wanna stay
please,
there.
please, Timms.
The top Chevy, Chase Elliott, top Ford, Blaney, parlay, I guess, plus 2,800. If
Gotta
it's
be
not a
on.
wreck fest, I think that's in. That's hitting.
Got to be on it. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
I'm going to tell you right now, guys, what's happening. Tim's has gone from a real light week to
Start liking a lot. I just placed 3 qualifying bets, so yeah, that's my light week right there.
He's going to be at the bar. His friends are trying to get his attention. There's some pretty girl wants to talk to him. Not now. I got to get more bets.
You're on Broadway. There's going to be a lot of girls, but this is the one race.
Todd Gilliland's got to finish on the pole right now. And he is sitting there.
I'm going to tell you right now, if Josh Berry or Ryan Preece wins the pole, look out Broadway.
What time is qualifying, Russ?
It is Saturday at 9 a.m.
Oh, this could get good.
Check your local news. Check your local news.
Central.
Oh, Tim's at brunch is going to be
what
on a
Nashville's
table.
on Central Time.
Central.
9:30 Central.
9:30.
If one of those 3 hits, just check your local news. That's all I gotta say.
I'm making sure I got bail money in my Venmo.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I could get it to you.
The chairs will be safe. Chairs will be safe. It's just
Don't throw a chair.
Yeah, the chairs will be safe. It's just,
All right, Xfinity. Hill, the monster favorite. Dinger, Creed.
I'm against him.
Talk to me. You have the floor.
His average finish at Talladega is 23rd. It's his worst of all tracks. He's 6 drafting track wins, but none have come at Talladega or even close. Like he's led there. Don't say that. I don't want to say that. But he's led there, but he doesn't have a top 10 there. Average finish 23rd.
I see what you got highlighted, Tim's. I like it.
Truex.
I like Truex.
And that's Ryan Truex, folks, for those that are listening.
Yep. And
It spoke to me.
I also like the Kligerman. Parker was in the shot at Atlanta, got wrecked coming to the line last year. Man, I think he sees as like road courses or super speedways are his chances to win.
He's won here twice in trucks. He's finished third, sixth.
I like that 16-1 bet. I do like that 16-1 bet.
Yes. That was my highlight too, Stevie.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize, Professor.
Yeah, the yellow is Russ.
And I also like that the matchup too
I don't.
of Allmendinger versus Hill.
You're taking the plus money.
Absolutely.
For sure, I agree.
Yeah.
Take the plus money.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just like that, as like week now has Saturday action. We haven't even got to the RBC this quote light week.
That's already in. This is not a light.
I've already in as well. I'm heavy on. I got Fleetwood, Lowry, Siwoo Kim, Homa, Davis, Shoffley, all to win. I got Fleetwood top 10, Lowry top 10, top 20, Homa top 20, Shoffley top 20.
I don't have any of those.
Wow.
I feel good then.
Yeah.
Also, you
feel
have
great.
to avoid Scotty Scheffler the rest of the month.
Oh, he'll probably win again just because he's like,
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is he's now
he could withdraw because he could go home for the baby mama.
and this is now his wife. Let's call it his wife.
The baby's mama, not his baby mama, the baby's mother.
Meredith.
Come on,
She's got a name.
Meredith. It's a sweet story.
So
How about she drove him to the bar at 1 a.m, like almost due? You want to talk about an all-star wife? Did you see that on the pod or whatever he was talking about? He flew home with his buddies. He didn't say he was in the sauce, but I read between the lines like they were in the gas. Because why else would your wife come out at midnight to pick you up at the airport? There's only one reason. Picks him up, and then he goes, well, his normal tavern's closed, so if there's another one open to 1:30, he rolls in there, green jacket and all. He is the man of the people.
I have Wyndham Clark, and what I did with my top 20 is I took a little less, and so I have it at plus 100, including ties, though. So basically buying a little insurance. I also did that.
He goes to the Masters for a week, and now he's this golf he's like analytical. I think I need to take the ties, which is actually a great idea.
I also have Will Zalatoris over Akshay in a matchup. I've got Wyndham Clark over Thagala in a matchup. And then I threw down a parlay with Fitzpatrick to win his matchup, Corey Connors to win his, and Cantley to win his.
No McElroy, huh? Nobody believes him?
The problem is the juice is just, it's too much to bet him right now.
Hey, man. Listen, I'm on board. I agree. What do you got over there, Timms?
Right now, I just got Fitzpatrick to win, and then I have Lowry, Wyndham Clark, and Cameron Young top 20. But I'm going to look at some rounds after this, and I'll probably end up live betting over the weekend. Heavy.
Probably. That's the most locked probably in the world right there. I like Lowry, too, just because I don't like them athletic-looking fools. I like a little candy-coated, beer-drinking-looking golfer. That's my kind of guy.
You like a guy that you feel like you could hang out with.
Fact. I'm like, for sure, me and Lowry could knock a few pints back. Telling you. I mean, I wouldn't look like Trav at the Masters, but we'd be right on his heels. Give me your highlight of the week, Trav. What was your highlight? What was the one moment? I know you've been going down there for years. I hear it's great. I hear all that story. But what's the one thing this week that happened that you're like, man, this place is awesome?
We interviewed Vern Lundquist out on 16 on Monday. Behind him was the green, so that was a cool interview. And then we interviewed Adam Hayes, Rahm's caddy, in what they call the golf services building. So that's where all the caddies hang out, and then the golfers are coming in and out too. So
Adam's a great guy, North Carolina kid. Lives right on the other side of the lake here.
Yep.
Great kid. I've played golf with him a couple times.
He was it was his first time back since they won. I mean, he'd literally only been on property for like 30 minutes when we interviewed him. So I mean, he was tearing up. So that was cool.
That's a great time. Great time. Well, what else we got, guys?
I think that's it.
Big day for the professor. We're going to need to put the paddles on the Predictor app. We're hoping a little electricity goes flowing through those things. I'm going to just tell you right now that if it's a Tier 5 winner, there may be no recovery.
Well, last week was not terrible. Like, there was a reason why the Predictor was the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. We've talked about this before. I can't predict when somebody's going to get wrecked from second or have a loose wheel from the lead.
No, if you could, you wouldn't work. All right, RBC, Talladega, both Cup and Xfinity. We got a little bit of it. Timms is having a, quote, small weekend. There'll be a safety check. We're going to have to send young Letarte down to Broadway and safety tech Travis and Timms. Cause
you know it's bad if young Letarte is the one performing the wellness check.
This says a lot about a safety check when we have to put in to the frat house to go find Timms and Travis on Broadway. That's going to be, that's a serious situation we're in front of. It could be out of control.
I can't wait.
It's a big week. It's hard to predict, but Russ is looking for a big Predictor bounce back. It's NASCAR at Talladega. Get all your bets in, and may all your bets pay off.